Good evening, viewers. This is the Ragpicker set in Walia coming to you again today. Before I start my talk, I would like to just mention a little bit about my first clip. Um, about my book, there are some who have written to me or called me and asked me whether they could buy this book. And I've explained to them that they cannot. It is not for sale. I have written this. I've compiled extracts from various books, and this is not for sale, but it is available to anybody who wishes to have a read. Please PM me, and I will do my best to send this book forward to you. And the second thing is that the first clip, it was my first clip, so the audio wasn't really that clear. And I would suggest that those who want to re-listen to my first clip, please use headphones. I think it's much clearer. But I'm sure the subtitles did help a little bit. So, right. Tonight, I'm going to talk about positive mental attitude. Very often there will be people who will have comments and will have their opinions about what you are doing and what you are attempting to do, especially when you are attempting to do something challenging. They will have their opinions, but viewers, don't listen to them. Okay, when you have made your mind up to do something, do it positively with a positive mental attitude, and you will succeed. There will always be small talk. There will always be negative opinions on what you want to do. Now, let me give you an example by telling you a story about a group of frogs. One day there was a group of frogs who decided to have to challenge themselves and see who amongst them could climb up a very tall tree. Okay, and there were maybe about 20 frogs, and they decided that they will take up this challenge. Now there were obviously a group of frogs watching them, and they kept on saying that, what are you guys doing? This tree is too tall for you. Don't do this. But anyway, the race started, and with them making a lot of noise, the other group of frogs, some of them, as they were going up, they fell off. But there was another group, the remaining group, that went to continue up the tall tree. Now, as they went higher, the group on the ground, they became more and more vocal. They became loud, and they started to shout at them, saying that, what are you guys doing? Are you mad? There's no way anybody can reach the top of this tall tree, so why even bother? Don't be silly, you will get hurt. And of course, there were more frogs that started to fall off, except one frog reached the top of the tree successfully, and when he came down, there were reporters who went up to him to say, to ask him how he managed to complete this feat, this fantastic challenge, and how did he do it? He kept on asking questions, and the frog turned back to the reporters and said, "Pardon?" Now, the frog was deaf. And in this situation, it was because he didn't hear anybody, he was successful. Perhaps one of life's greatest lessons is not to heed to the negativity of others who are around you. Everyone will have an opinion. Whether they are qualified or they're not qualified, they will have an opinion. If you want an opinion, find an expert in that field and ask that person. Don't just go listening to people all around you. Do not listen to the unqualified. Instead, Be like that super frog. Just keep on going with this with a positive mental attitude. You know, in everyone, in everybody, there's a fight going on inside our body. It's a evil versus good sort of a fight between two wolves. One wolf is evil, is hatred, anger, ego, uh, regret, greed, arrogance, and the other wolf is good. Is love, respect, confidence, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and love. Now you ask me which of these wolves will win? You ask me that question. And the answer is it is the wolf that you feed. So when it comes to your life, which wolf are you feeding? You must consciously eliminate negative thoughts and put positive ones in its place. As I mentioned in my first clip, if you keep repeating, if you keep thinking about those thoughts, it will finally sink into your subconscious and it will manifest. So do not think about what you don't want. Think about what you want. Always think about what you want, what you love, what you expect. There was a very famous writer, Clement Stone, W. Clement Stone, who said that every adversity carries with it a seed of an equivalent or greater opportunity for those who have positive mental attitude. There is no problem. There is no obstruction. There is no problem that cannot be solved. Everything can be solved. It can be solved as long as you approach it with a positive mental attitude. You approach it with intelligence, with confidence, with persistence, and most importantly, with a positive mental attitude. When you agonize over whether you are capable of doing something that is difficult for you, when you substitute self-confidence with self-doubt, when you doubt yourself, you will not only not succeed, you will find that experience itself exhausting. You'll get tired. Now, how do we eliminate negative thoughts? Let me give you an example. There was a tree in a farm, and the farmer was worried that because it is a very old tree, 200-300 years old tree, that it was getting rotten, and he was afraid that one day this tree is going to fall on his farmhouse, and he's going to get his farmhouse is going to get damaged. So he called the tree person to come to cut down the tree. So the tree person came with his helpers, and the farmer thought that very simple. They just take a chainsaw and they just cut it off from the bottom, and that would be that. But they didn't do it that way. The tree man and his helpers, they actually climbed up the tree, and they started cutting off all the branches little by little, and then the trunk and the trunk was left, and then they took down the trunk in sections, in portions, from the top, a little bit from the top, until they reached the bottom. Now that's the way you eliminate negative thoughts. You start with the little negative thoughts, and then you work your way down to the bigger ones until you get to the core, to the negative core of your thinking. And then you eliminate that, and you're ready to put some positivity in your mind. That's the way you get rid of negative thinking, bit by bit. Now, I've always told this to people that, when they are disturbed by what somebody did or what somebody said to them, it's not what was said or what was done. It is your perception of what was said. It's the way you react to what was said or what was done. So remember that if you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment of this thing, your own judgment, the way you perceive it. And it is in your power to wipe this judgment out. It's in your power. You can think positively. You guys, maybe some of you, the older guys, you probably remember the proverb we used to learn in school that sticks and stones may break my bone, but words can never hurt me. So this is it. They're just words. They can't hurt you unless you let them hurt you. It's as simple as that. Attitudes. You know, attitudes are more important than facts. That is worth repeating until it grips you. Attitudes are more important than facts. Why do I say that? Any fact, no matter how enormous it is, any fact facing us, no matter how difficult, even seemingly hopeless, is not so important as our attitude towards that fact. How you think about a fact may even defeat you even before you take any action on it. You may even permit a fact to overwhelm you mentally before you start to deal with it actually. On the other hand, an optimistic and well thought of pattern can modify or even overcome the fact altogether. Eliminating negative thoughts isn't enough. Eliminating negative thoughts simply by emptying the mind is not enough. When the mind is empty, something is bound to enter. The mind cannot remain a vacuum. By and large, it is important that the mind is filled up again. Otherwise, the old thoughts will start to creep in. If it's a vacuum, it starts to creep in again. To prevent that from happening, start to fill your mind with positive thoughts, pleasant thoughts, like your honeymoon or the birth of your first child. Pleasant thoughts. Then, when the old thoughts, the old fears that has been haunting you, in the past, try to get in again, there will be a sign at the door which says that, hey, no entry, it's occupied. Many people succumb to despair and fail without realizing that they already possess all the tools needed to acquire success, to get success. They have the tools. Obstacles. Many feel that obstacles are bad, but they are not bad. Obstacles are good. Many face obstacles in their path with fear and consider them as enemies, but they are not enemies. In truth, these are friends. These are helpers. Obstructions are helpers to you. Listen, obstacles are necessary for success. Nobody gets success by not failing. They have obstacles that they have come through. They have to overcome. It's necessary. It's part of growing up. It's life. Deal with it. You've heard stories before. Success comes, victory comes after many struggles and many defeats. Each of these struggle, each of these defeat strengthens your ability, strengthens your skill, strengthens your courage and your endurance, your ability and your confidence. This is what obstacles do. They are your friends. Start to think of and refer to mistakes as valuable lessons, because that's what they are. You will be much happier to think that, hey, that's a valuable lesson to learn here, rather than, oh, I made a mistake. We all know of people who continue talking about backaches, headaches, stomach aches, or all kinds of illnesses. They keep on saying it again and again, and first thing you know, with that reiteration, these aches and illnesses become realities. They get manifested. If you have such an ache or an illness, then what's the point of saying it, repeating it? Are you seeking sympathy? And similarly, there's no point in talking about your worries, your troubles. Do not talk about them. Do not think about them. Then they will not be in your mind. It is this repetition that keeps them there. Shift your gears, reverse the process. Get away from the negative side. Be the affirmative type. Think affirmatively, think positively. And the first thing you know, your aches, your illnesses, your worries, your troubles, they are gone. Trust me. Think positive. Your personality is basically a multitude of your habits. The way you think, the way you feel, and the way you behave is the product of everything that has entered into your mind since we were born, since we were young. The most practical thing you can do to improve your life is to cut out any negative influences from your life and put in positive influences as much as possible. My suggestion is, I will give at least just one suggestion to improve, to be more positive. Keep away from people who complain, who gossip, who judge, who criticize, or those who attempt to shoot down your dreams. Keep away from them. As I mentioned just earlier on, be like that super frog. Don't hear anything. You have a target, just go for it. Avoid playing the role of the victim. It's no point. It's powerless. It's absolutely powerless. No one else's words or thoughts or actions can negatively affect you unless you let them. Understand that you are 100% responsible for your own thoughts. Understand that you are 100% responsible for your own thoughts, your own emotions, and therefore you're responsible for your actions. And you're responsible for the circumstances surrounding your life. Taking responsibility is the first step to changing things in your life. Your life won't change unless you change. Well, that's my take on why we should have a positive mental attitude. I will end my talk here tonight. But before I go, I want to tell you that in my upcoming videos, I'll be talking about habits. I'll be talking about procrastination. We all procrastinate. We want to do something, but we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. I'll talk about that. But before I go tonight, I'm going to remind you that if you have not hit the subscription and notification buttons, please do that so that you will be told, you will be made, you will be notified of my upcoming videos. So until then, this is the Ragpicker Satin Walia saying good evening.